worst thing comes to worst, I fucking die a tragic death or some shit, and I'm not able to see out my dreams, I at least want to know that the kids perceived my message and were able to make something of themselves and able to take my message and use it and turn it into something positive.
To celebrate the legendary Biggie Smalls' birthday, his estate released his first single in 17 years. The track is called GOAT, and it features Ty Dolla $ign and Bella El Buo. You know, two artists that Biggie never knew personally, nor has any stylistic similarities to. The song was released to celebrate B.I.G's birthday because, reusing a verse from his 1997 track I Love the Dough, speeding it up, mixing it horribly, and throwing it within a forgettable reggae anthem is how we should honor the late, great Biggie Smalls. You know what the funny part is? The MTA, which for those who don't know is the New York City transit system, gave out Biggie Smalls Metro cards for his 50th birthday, a nice and fitting way to honor the legendary rapper. The point of saying this is, how can a friggin' railroad system honor Biggie Smalls better than the people who hold the rights to his music? It's just baffling the amount of disrespect people who posed as Biggie's best friends can have for somebody. And yes, I am calling you out, Diddy. But I mean, I don't know why we're surprised at this point. Diddy is literally the guy who released a tribute song to Biggie that he didn't even write. Seeing Biggie Smalls' first song released in 17 years opens up the bigger question that has challenged hip-hop heads and music fans alike. When is it okay to release posthumous music? Is it morally just to finish an artist's vision and show it to the world so fans can feel their presence one more time? Or are all these releases disgusting cash grabs from greedy labels and corporations? I think the answer to this is situational, as we have seen some great posthumous records that represent everything the artist has stood for, while we've also seen some albums that I have quite literally boycotted due to how they handle the artist's legacy. On the side of good-fitting posthumous albums, we've seen records like Mac Miller's Circles, Juice WRLD's Legends Never Die, Pop Smoke's Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, which have all done a great job reflecting on what these artists represented in their lifetime. All of these records were handled and curated by people who worked closely with these artists in the form of names like John Bryan for Mac, Lil Bibby for Juice, and 50 Cent for Pop Smoke. Because of the care these people and other collaborators put into representing not just a beloved artist, but one of their friends' legacies, we have received great records that gave fans closure and a healing exit to the artists they once loved. Some other great posthumous records include J Dilla's The Shining, Big L's The Big Picture, and Big Pun's Yeah Baby. There are also posthumous releases like Tupac's Don Columinati, The 7 Day Theory, Biggie's Life After Death, and DMX's Exodus, which despite being released after the artist's passing, were only really slightly altered due to the near complete state that the albums were in while the artists were alive. On the flip side of these tributes, there are albums like Pop Smoke's Faith and XXXTentacion's Skins and Bad Vibes Forever, which are just such disrespectful portrayals of artists who were once loved that many diehard fans have chosen to boycott these releases entirely. These records are released only for money, and they are usually loaded to the brim with features that are used only to create buzz as opposed to actually having chemistry with the artist. The only ones who benefit from these projects are the ones who are getting paid from it, as it's disgusting to the fans and the artist who we can no longer hear from directly. Most of the time, these albums don't even feature more than one verse from the artist, which just makes these records feel so strange. Pop Smoke's Faith did not even contain Pop's own voice on half of the record, and some of the vocals were just reused from older material, which just makes you sit there and ask, why did this ever drop? It's really sad to see money-hungry estate owners, which are usually family and friends, diminish these artists' legacies. I mean, in the matter of a year and a half after his passing, Pop Smoke's estate managed to cash out on all of his unreleased work, clearing out his entire vault of music. It's really heartbreaking and immoral to see these albums released in such a crooked form. All of this brings us back to where we started this video. Biggie Smalls. His posthumous catalog began in 1999 with Born Again. I mean, the album is not bad, nor is it inherently disrespectful, but it is a big step down considering how good Biggie's first two albums were. Where the more controversial one of Biggie's two posthumous releases comes in is 2005's Duets, The Final Chapter. Method Man said it best when talking about this record. He said, "They got people on that record Big would have never rocked with, for real." What Meth is saying here really sums up the entire dilemma around the first Biggie Smalls duet album and its sequel, which just got announced. So yeah, we're gonna get more half-assed Biggie Smalls music. But these albums just hold no resemblance of who Biggie Smalls is. Stylistically, they are nothing like the rest of his catalog, and they just slap any artist on a song with him. When artists like The Lox feature on DMX's Exodus or Common features on Jay Dilla's The Shining, it makes sense, because the artists had a creative relationship and more importantly were friends. But when you throw people like Akon and Ty Dolla $ign on a track with Biggie Smalls, it just sounds so out of whack. Whether we are considering 2005's Duets The Final Chapter, or whatever the hell the 2017 Faith Evans collab album The King and I was, Biggie Smalls should have been able to rest after the release of Born Again, which even in itself can be debated. All in all, posthumous albums can be a very beautiful thing. They can send off an artist in the public light gracefully, showcasing everything they stood for perfectly, but they can also be quite disastrous and immoral. The line between these two polar opposite sides of the spectrum may seem tricky, but it's really not. It's clear when an estate should put together a project of an artist they represent, but as all things in life, people will disregard this line for one thing and one thing only: money. To quote the great Biggie Smalls, "If you feel like it's something you don't have to do, you really have to question it." Fantastic hip hop, signing out. Have a great day.